Hey, I'm Kent McConoughey, and this is...
I'm Allison McConaughey, and we have one son, Jeremiah, who's 7 years old. And we're from Charleston, South Carolina, and we are full-time foreign missionaries with Family Missions Company on our first year, and we're headed to General Cepeda, Mexico. And so I kind of want to tell you the story of how we found our call to missions.
To kind of start from the beginning in our listening to God and feeling God's call. When we were married for just about 2 years, God called us, asked us to do foster care. And when we started it, it was just going to be a temporary thing, like maybe a year or so. But God had other plans.
Yeah. God had much more beautiful plans than that for us. Our son Jeremiah came to us in January of 2011, and after a few years of kind of fighting with the system, we were finally able to legally adopt Jeremiah, and he's just this beautiful testament to us of God's faithfulness, and just that when God calls you to something, if you have the courage to say yes to it, His plans are so much greater than you can imagine. It wasn't particularly easy for us to say yes to foster care early in our marriage, young. People thought that was crazy, and it probably was a little. But we said yes for whatever reasons we had that courage to. And that's really been something that's carried throughout our marriage then, that when God asks us to do something, how can we say no to Him? Because look at what this beautiful gift that He gave us. And I almost say it would take more courage for me to say no to God at this point than to say yes to Him, because if I had said no to Him, I wouldn't have my beautiful child. And so God's not always going to just hand you a beautiful child every time you say yes to Him, but His blessings are something that I don't want to miss out on.
So at Allison's work, one of her clients was a missionary company. And so that kind of got the ball rolling for us to look into Catholic missionary work. So we found FMC online, and then we scheduled a trip.
Yeah. We questioned whether or not we were called to full-time missions. It was very whimsical and random that we found the website for Family Missions Company. We're like, wow, we were just blown away by this organization and what they were doing and how they lived and breathed the faith, and just how every part of their lives it was. And we thought, maybe we're called to full-time missions. And then this was in June of 2016. And then we thought, yeah, we should probably give that a minute. We didn't particularly want to give up our awesome jobs and our beautiful home and living close to family and all these things in life that we enjoyed. So we emailed FMC and decided to go on to a mission trip at Thanksgiving of 2016, and we went to General Cepeda, Mexico for a week. And it was just a really great trip. Kent and I experienced different things throughout the trip, but what we both had more than an experience of was just this true encounter with Christ and the gift of joy that brought. And at the end of the trip, it was one of the last couple of days, we were walking down the street towards the plaza there in General, and I just remember looking at Kent and just saying, like, I feel joy. Like, I feel joy that I've never felt in my life. It's just different. It's not the same as happiness. Like, we've experienced a lot of happiness in our life, but this gift of joy from God is something you can't create. Like, it's just a gift from being directly at the center of His will, and we were experiencing that for the first time ever.
At the end of the week, we did Desert Day, which gave us an opportunity to reflect on what we had experienced this past week. And this is when we go off by ourselves, kind of like what Jesus did before He started any of His ministry. And I felt God was calling both of us to be missionaries. And I felt very sure.
I did not. I did not feel that way. And prior to going up to Desert Day, we had talked about it and both agreed that like, no, we're called to do short-term mission trips as a family, but not to full-time. And then at the Desert Day, Kent expressed opposite, which was super awkward and still awkward. But obviously we had some more discerning to do, and I was open to that. I just felt that at that time what God was saying was, no, like I'm not calling you to this right now. But like he's not telling us opposite things. So, maybe it was a matter of timing or what, I didn't know, but we had to go home and we had to change some things in life and just take that encounter with Christ and make that a true part of our life. And so we did, and we dove into this discernment and did things like got a spiritual director, read through Mission and Redeemer by St. John Paul II. And
immediately when we came back,
yeah,
we decided to start a community of Catholic friends.
Catholic friends, yeah. So we started surrounding ourselves by a larger community of friends, just things that we had been, more lazy about in our lives, just kind of like having our faith and being active at church and participating in church activities and some different ministries, but not really letting it be a part, like not opening ourselves completely to God and what he wanted for our lives. And so we did. And then through that, it became clear that God was asking us to go into missions, but still it was a question of like, are you saying now or later? And a lot of the time was in scripture too. And so one verse that really stood out to us and was very challenging to us was Luke chapter 9, verse 24.
For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake will save it. What does it profit them if they gain the whole world but lose or forfeit themselves?
Although we didn't want to leave home, like we didn't want to leave our home, we didn't want to leave these comforts. Like we like heating and air conditioning. We like sitting around the dinner table at Easter, the same spot you've always sat at with your parents, and we like our 2 times at Starbucks every year or every week. And we like these creature comforts. We like these good comforts, being around family, being around your mom whom you love and you want to be around her and she lives near you. Like these are good, holy, great things in your life that we wanted, but ultimately it's not what God was asking us to do. And what Jesus is saying and was saying to us and putting on our hearts was, I need you to be willing to lose your life for me. And don't put your life above Christ. And it's just that simple. And
feeling that call and then looking back on our life and what God had already done with us with Jeremiah, just cleared everything up. It's like,
now we know.
Gotta do this.
Now we know what he wants, so we must go. And thankfully we had actually planned a short-term mission trip to Haiti. And so shortly after deciding that God definitely was calling us to this, like the very next week we went to Haiti on this short-term trip. And it was hard. It's a very difficult post and it was a very hard week, but it was beautiful. And that joy that we had felt before came back, and we felt that there, and it was just this great confirmation. So now we're
excited to say that we are going back to where it all began. We're going to General Cepeda, Mexico.